I would now like to introduce my classmate, Taina Beltre-Green.
Thank you, Nathan. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished faculty and administrators, friends and family, and of course, my fellow classmates of the class of 2015, welcome. This morning, as I drove out of my house, I had a natural reflex of glancing through my rearview mirror. However, for some inexplicable reason, I glanced back longer than usual. When my mother asked me why the long glance, I responded, I think I left something behind. After today, we will all be taking on the wheel and steering our way through life. Yes, you too may feel inclined to glance back at the past 2 years at SAS. Therefore, like good drivers, let's use the rearview mirror to our advantage. Let's see what's behind us and then use this information to help us move forward. In order to drive through life successfully, it is essential that we too reflect on these last 2 years at SAS. Reflecting on the gains that we have received can make our hearts grateful and help us to cope with the obstacles that lie ahead. We may feel overwhelmed if we are suddenly confronted with stressful circumstances. During these times, we will be comforted and strengthened by reflecting on our gains. Now, what did we gain from these past 2 years? For one thing, we gained grit. What is grit? Angela Lee Duckworth described it as passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. In our case, it's the perseverance of pursuing our majors. Grit is sticking with our future day in and day out, not just for a week or for a month, but for years, and working really hard to make the future a reality. Grit is living a life as if it were a marathon, not a sprint. It's more than just IQ. Grit is when we stayed after school to attend our night class. It's when we sacrificed our weekend for academic competitions such as SECME, the Science Olympiad, the African American Brain Bowl, David Esner Model UN, and the 14-hour Moody's Math Challenge, getting up as early as 5 a.m. and staying up as late as 10 p.m. Now, what else did we gain? We gained an improved perspective of life. Sometimes what sets us back the most in life is the picture in our heads of how life is supposed to be. For example, I'm sure that when we first came to SAS, we had a certain GPA that we were proud of. However, for some reason, we noticed that it started to drop. Then we realized that the effort that we put in the past perhaps was not going to be enough for this school. That's when we learned that homework was not the same as studying. We also learned that individual study was not always the best method of learning, but rather group studying allowed us to widen our horizon and taught us the importance of working as a team. We even learned and cultivated the habit of managing time, a skill that's going to get us through all the midterms and final exams that await us at the university, graduate school, medical school, and yes, life itself. This graduation is not the end of good times, nor is it the beginning of life. It's simply a part of the continuous transition in life. Though we have taken the time to reflect on 2 important gains in our life, our focus should not be on what we're leaving behind. That approach would be as reasonable as trying to drive with one's eyes fixed on the rearview mirror. When a driver is focused on what he is moving away from, he's blind to what is ahead. Therefore, let's not just concentrate on moving away from high school life. We should have our eyes fixed on our worthwhile goals. SAS prepped us well for life ahead, and any roadblocks we encounter in life will not be seen as a time to give up. They will simply be a signal that it's time to find another route. Today, we have the opportunity to find another route to our first roadblock, saying goodbye to our beloved friends. So, let's find comfort in the words of Steve Maraboli. Cry, forgive, learn, move on. Let your tears water the seeds of your future happiness. Yes, we will cry for the good and bad times we've shared. Forgive the people that have hurt you, including yourself. And be grateful for what we've learned. But be ready to move on. Thank you.
Thank you, Taina. And now returning to the stage, Diana Ryersback.